Welcome! Today, we are diving deep into website optimization. And we're not just talking about minor tweaks. We're talking about how to turn your website from just another page on the internet into your single most powerful business tool. Let's get right into it.
So, let me start by asking you something. Think about your own website right now. Is it a dynamic, hardworking asset constantly bringing in business, or is it kind of more of an afterthought? You know, a digital brochure you set up once and then forgot about? Go ahead, be honest. Because that answer is really the key to everything we're going to talk about.
Okay, so what exactly is website optimization? Well, it's not just about techie stuff and code. It's really the art of making the experience for your visitor as good as it can possibly be. The whole goal is to make people so happy and comfortable on your site that they keep coming back and, eventually become customers.
Now, this is a big one. People get this confused all the time. They think, oh, this is just SEO, right? Well, no, not quite. Think of it like this. SEO is what helps Google and other search engines find your website in the first place. It gets them to the front door. But website optimization, that's about everything that happens after they walk through that door. It's about making sure they have a great time, find what they need, and actually stick around. It's the whole experience.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll nail down what website optimization really is. Then, we'll talk about building your digital foundation. After that, we'll get into designing for your audience, creating a seamless experience, and finally, how to measure what actually matters.
All right, let's kick things off with part one. What is website optimization? Let's really get to the heart of the goal here.
Look, the reason we do this is simple. It drives real business results. When you optimize your site, people stay longer. They have a better experience, they're way more likely to come back. And, most importantly, it directly leads to more sales. Every single one of these points moves a potential customer closer to your brand.
On to section 2, building your digital foundation. I want you to think of your website like a house, right? You wouldn't start picking out paint colors and furniture before you've poured the foundation and put up the walls. That's what we're talking about here, the core architecture.
And we can actually break this whole process down into 4 pretty simple phases. First, you get your address. That's your domain name and your hosting. Second, you choose your platform, which is usually a content management system. Third, you frame the whole layout with a theme. And finally, you move in. You add your content. That's the stuff that makes the house a home.
So let's zoom in on that very first step, hosting. Choosing your hosting is like picking the plot of land to build your house on. And you've got options, each with different pros and cons. For example, shared hosting is super affordable, but you might sacrifice a bit on security. On the flip side, a dedicated server is like owning your own private estate. It's powerful, it's secure, but it's going to cost you more. The trick is to find the right fit for your needs and your budget.
Okay, foundation is poured, the frame is up. Now it's time for section 3, designing for your audience. This is the curb appeal. It's that all-important first impression someone gets when they pull up to your digital front door.
And let me be clear, great design isn't just about making things look pretty. It's about making things work beautifully. Things like a simple design, being easy to navigate, and keeping everything consistent, those aren't just fluffy aesthetic choices. They're about making your site so intuitive that your visitors don't even have to think. It just works.
You know, a massive part of design today is how your site shows up on a phone. It used to be that people would build a whole separate, stripped-down site for mobile. But today, the absolute gold standard is responsive design. That means you have one website that automatically and magically adjusts itself to look perfect on any screen, a giant desktop, a tablet, or a tiny phone.
And remember, design also includes the words on the page, the copy. Take a look at this. It's clear, it's confident, and then bam, it hits you with the unique promise, a 10-year warranty. That single detail instantly builds trust and makes them stand out. Now that is copy that closes.
That quote is the perfect segue into our 4th section, creating a seamless experience. So, we've talked about how the site looks. Now let's talk about how it feels to use it. This is all about the flow.
And to do that, we have to clear up 2 very common terms, UX and UI. The user interface, or UI, is the stuff you actually see and click on. The buttons, the menus, the forms. But the user experience, or UX, is the overall feeling you get from interacting with all that stuff. I love this analogy. UI is the saddle, the stirrups, and the reins. But UX is the feeling of being able to actually ride the horse.
And that amazing feeling, that great UX, is really built on these 5 pillars.
Can everyone use it? Is it super clear what to do? Is it easy to learn your way around? Do you feel like you can trust it? And is the information actually relevant to what you need? If you can check all these boxes, people are going to love using your website.
Just how important is that experience? Well, check this out. 3 seconds. That's it. That is the absolute maximum amount of time a mobile user will wait for your page to load before they give up and leave. Speed isn't just a nice feature, it's a fundamental requirement.
So you've built a house, you've designed it beautifully, and you've made sure it's a joy to be in. But how do you know if it's actually working? That brings us to our final section, measuring what matters. This is where we do the inspection.
Now, you don't need to track a million different things. Just focus on the numbers that tell you a story. How long are people sticking around? Are they actually coming back? Are they buying stuff, or are they getting to the checkout and just leaving? These numbers are basically your users telling you exactly what's working and what's not. You just have to listen.
But just looking at data for the sake of it is totally pointless. This is where the SMART framework is so crucial. Your goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So instead of, we want more sales, you say, we want to increase our conversion rate by 5% in the next 3 months. See the difference?
In the end, though, after all the analytics and all the data, it all boils down to one simple human question. Can a real person come to your website, try to do something, like find a phone number or buy a product, and do it easily, without getting confused or frustrated? If the answer is yes, you've won. That's the ultimate test.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Your website never calls in sick. It never takes a vacation. It is your hardest working salesperson, on the clock 24/7. So the real question is, after everything we've talked about, is yours actually closing the deal?